watching some Suns highlights over here, which is, I don't know why they're on, but there they are right in front of us.
Okay. Feeling a little melancholy right now. Maybe it's because it's a Wednesday. I have no idea. Hump day, whatever.
A melancholy Wednesday?
Wasn't big on that right there. A big Wednesday. I think maybe it probably had more to do with what I saw last night.
Possibly.
It was a little troubling.
Yeah.
It was. No doubt about it.
Where do you want to start with the Suns? By the way, Max Stark's going to join us later on the show
Yeah.
for kind of our final Super Bowl wrap-up, Maximum Football. K-Ray's going to join us because the Suns do play again tonight. We got a lot of baseball to talk about with pitchers and catchers reporting today. But we are going to start with that Suns loss to Memphis last night. Where do you want to start, Wolf?
Well, you know what? Honestly, I would say, Basinonians, not that they lost the game. It wasn't. The Suns made this a game and played like it was a playoff game.
Yeah, I feel like they fought for it.
Did you notice that?
Yeah.
Once again, could you see it? I talk about this all the time. I realize this, brothers, but for a guy that is a former professional athlete, you can see team intensity. You can see it. It's not just an individual. It's also team intensity, collective. You can see it. It matters to me when you play team sports, how your team intensity manifests itself when you play and compete. And you could see it last night with the Suns.
Yeah, and that's, I guess it's a double-edged sword, but I remember you saying that yesterday, and I couldn't help but think it, especially in the fourth quarter when they really did push back. And it's kind of where I'm landing on this team, and we have to see it, again, tonight against Houston. We got to see it consistently because that hasn't, I don't believe, been consistently there this season, but it's been there more than maybe we talk about. And I did think they fought for it last night, but where I'm landing on this team is they just aren't as good as some of these other teams. And it's such a weird thing still now, 53 games into the season, to say, because you have Durant and you have Booker. But you could see it last night. I mean, Durant had a monster game, and they still lost to Memphis. They don't have the depth. And I know Memphis is a really good team, but they don't have the depth to beat these top teams.
Yeah, you're right, Luke. And in a weird kind of way, just watching it last night, I'm more encouraged, actually, by what I saw last night than many wins that the Phoenix Suns have had this season.
I believe that.
Just watching Kevin Durant, first of all. Did you see it, brothers? I know you did. You saw him. Kevin Durant was active on both ends of the floor.
Yeah.
Oh, my goodness.
He looked like a guy that hadn't played in a couple games and was ready to get back to it.
Yeah, but listen, I'm just saying right now, that's the kind of intensity that I want to continue to see. Go out and do that game in and game out with that kind of intensity right there. You can manufacture it. You can, Basinonians. He's just got to go to that place. He's got to allow himself to go to whatever place he was in last night, do it again.
The run last night when he hit 30,000 points, which we'll get into more obviously later in the show, but when he got that, when he hit the 2 free throws to get the 30,000 points, immediately goes back, blocks a shot, Grayson Allen 3, Katie goes back, steals the ball. And it was like the Suns were down at that point, and Memphis is a really good team, but they almost came back. That was kind of the jumping off point, or one of the main jumping off points. What I think when you say that was more encouraging than some of their wins this season, I'm with you. I mean, it's always a mixed bag with this team because, again, they played like that and still couldn't win the game. But if they played like that against Portland, for example, you beat Portland. You don't lose back-to-back games to Portland. If you play like that, you're 2-0 against Portland. And I use Portland as the example because I feel like that's where those are the two games that kind of broke everybody this year.
Yeah, there was a stretch as well in the second half. I don't know if you happen to see it, where Katie was showing up on the offensive glass in transition on the defensive end, actually, in the transition defense and getting back on the defensive end, taking over the second quarter as well, blocking shots. KD was balling, playing hard, had 5 blocks.
Yeah.
5.
He had a few games ago, probably about a week or two ago, he had that 4-block game.
And by the way, guess what? The dude didn't turn the ball over the entire game until there was 45 seconds left on the clock. He had 1 turnover. Didn't turn it over the entire game. And we know that is where KD struggles from time to time, turning the ball over. Kevin Durant, man, he was locked in. He was focused. And guess what? That's where he's got to go to lead this team the rest of the way.
It was similar to the Minnesota game right at the end of January, so last night, and I don't think the stat line totally tells the whole story, but it reinforces what you're saying. Last night, 34 points, 5 blocks, just the 1 turnover very late, okay? The Minnesota game, which they also lost, on January 29th, 33 points, 4 blocks, 2 steals, 0 turnovers. He is having some of those games lately. That's 2 in his last 5 where it's like, okay, he could take over this game. Problem is they still lost both the games, so they got to get something else going too. But yeah, there were encouraging signs last night that they should at least be a play-in team. You know, you don't have to be better than Memphis to be a play-in or even a playoff team, but it is a loss. And they got a back-to-back in a different city tonight against Houston.
Yeah, once again, what do I want to see going forward out of the Phoenix Suns based on what I saw last night? Because I was more encouraged. I want to see more of that from Kevin Durant. I want to see more of that kind of impact from Kevin Durant. Now, I understand base earnings. It's not always going to go that way. Are you kidding me? He's competing at the highest level our species could generate. It's really difficult. Somebody is trying to keep Kevin Durant from doing his job. And the guy happens to be, whomever it happens to be, the guy happens to be really talented. It's not easy to do what Kevin Durant did last night. But, man, you could just see him fighting over screens. This is what I'm talking about. Just watch what he was doing on a movement level. He was more active moving than I have seen him in many, many games.
When he's active like that, it's scary. What at least he's capable of accomplishing, because a lot of this stuff, it almost looks like it comes easy to him. I mean, that's why he has 30,000 points. But you're right, when he's like out there like that, almost on a mission, and that's why it evoked thoughts of the Minnesota game from a couple weeks ago too, where he had that, and it's just like, okay, they won't be able to stop him probably.
You know, the harsh reality is, as we all know, brothers, if you can do it once, you can do it again. And if you can do it again, you can do it again and again. Isn't that right, Marshawn?
Over and 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 over
we get
over
it.
again.
He had to catch his breath for a second.
I'm just saying, this is what they need to replicate, what they had last night. Do it again. And see if you can't beat some teams, you should be.
Maybe that should be, you know how you always talk about your job someday, like, oh, you're going to go just like deliver packages, or you're going to be the guy on the field at State Farm. Maybe you should just be Marshawn and walk around in just a full sweatsuit all the time and just show up at parties. Can't you just see Wolf being that guy? Just shows up.
I don't know.
No?
I saw a movie with Marshawn Lynch in it this weekend. It wasn't very good.
Really?
I like Rick's movie
Are you
reviews.
saying Sean wasn't good? Or
No,
are
he
you
was
saying-
actually one of the bright spots,
Yeah.
but the movie itself was pretty bad.
Okay.
That's
I kind of knew that going in because it was an hour and 23
put
minutes.
that down as a pretty bad from Rick. Okay.
Yeah, okay.
Love hurts. Don't see it.
Not
Love hurts.
Marshawn's in a movie called Love Hurts.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not what you think it is.
That doesn't sound like. I don't even know what I think it is.
Yeah.
Did you see Nick?
It's not a romantic comedy or something like that, is it?
Yeah, it's not
can't
really
stand
a.
those things.
It's not really a romantic comedy.
Okay.
It's kind of. It's kind of violent.
Oh, okay.
Okay, that's
All right.
there you go.
Rick. Love hurts.
Well,
I guess.
they lean more to the Hurts part than the love part.
Okay.
And it's not about like Jalen Hurts either, right? It's not like a Philadelphia Eagles fan.
No, but I
production.
did see it after the Super Bowl.
All right, there you
Okay,
go.
what is my point, Basin? What is our point? You know what my point is? I want to see this kind of energy and intensity, and I want to see it more consistently.
My point is a lot of, and I agree with you, last night's game was a little encouraging, even though it was a loss. Most of the season, I have felt like Nick Richards after Desmond Bain chucked the ball right off his head from 2 feet away. Did you see that? He just drilled that pass right off Nick Richards' face in like the third quarter, whenever it was.
Don't drop the eyes, Nick. Don't drop them.
Well, he didn't. He took the ball right
Keep
to the
'em up.
face.
Thanks for watching Wolf and Luke. Tap to see more and click the button in the middle to subscribe to Arizona Sports.